Started to cough one night. Couldn't understand it. And it was frothing as well. It was like top of a coffee that was bringing up. This went on the rest of the holiday. So I went to see, had a endoscopy, I think, where I put a camera down my throat. And this doctor, who I've got to say was brilliant, he said, "Oh, Mr. Bainbridge, you've got cancer of the esophagus." And I looked at him, I thought, nah, you've got the wrong guy, you know, it's not me. Somebody like me doesn't get cancer, that happens to the bloke next door. Because I had no symptoms at all, except I had this cough. And when I read that esophageal cancer is the 5th biggest killer of cancers in the country and prevalent in the northeast and Scotland, I think the northeast nearly wake up. I'm doing everything that I think a normal 60-year-old bloke does. I can't ask for any better than that. Because in truth, I'm just over 12-month-old. I told my doctor early, it saved my life. It could save yours.
When I went in the shower and I started to wash my body, I realised that there was a little tiny speck of blood on the end of my left nipple. They did investigate, it came back as benign, but they then decided, just because it's benign, we'll get rid of it because it may turn. And they removed this benign growth in the June 2006. But the area that it was sat in was full of cancerous cells. Remember, I was 41 when I was first diagnosed through the symptomatic system, so I was a good 9 years away from being caught by the regular screening programme. So, you know, if I hadn't taken notice of my symptoms at that time, I wouldn't be here now. I'd been mammogrammed the year before, 2009 mammogram. There'd been nothing at all that had showed up in my right breast. A year later, there was a tumour the size of a marble. I understand why people ignore symptoms, because they're terrified of what they're going to be told if something horrendous is found. But a symptom is, you know, it's a clue that something's wrong, and you're the only person that can spot it in your own body. If I hadn't been checked back in 2005 and they kept an eye on me right through to 2006 and my first diagnosis, I wouldn't be here now. I told my doctor early, it saved my life, it could save yours.
My first instinct when I found the lump was, it's nothing. It's, you know, I'm 48, I can't have breast cancer, it's something and nothing. I went to the doctors when I found the puckering, and as I've said, I wouldn't be here. If I hadn't gone to the doctors early, I wouldn't be here. But in my case, the treatment wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. I could get on, you know, I got on with my life from a point of view of what I had to go through compared with what would have happened if I hadn't gone through it. That would have been a very big deal. I told my doctor early, it saved my life, it could save yours.
So I went to my doctor and said, what about this blood test and this dry cough that I've had for ages, you know? And she said, yeah. She says, I don't know what they meant by a high blood count. So she sent me for an x-ray, went on the Friday, and I knew there was something up because on the Monday morning she was on the doorstep. I was lucky because within 7 weeks after scans and various tests, I had an operation which removed the lower lobe of the left lung. And I just feel that I'm one of the lucky ones, because it's my age group that lung cancer is quite high. But if you don't catch it quickly, that's it. And the earlier that it's diagnosed, the better chance of survival. And more people are surviving all kinds of cancer. I told my doctor early, it saved my life, it could save yours.
For some reason, I was going to the toilet a lot more frequent than normal. I was getting about every 15 minutes through the night, and I wasn't passing a lot of urine. It was just small amounts. And next morning, I'd said to my wife, "So there's something adrift here. I don't have any problems. It's the first time." She said, "You may have a bladder infection." She said, "Get yourself to the doctor on Monday morning." Bearing in mind, I'd had no more symptoms at all from that weekend where I was going to the toilet a lot, to the consultant actually saying to me, "I'm sorry, but we've got some bad news. You've got cancer of the prostate, and you need to go for the next level of treatment," which really floored me. I went in about a fortnight later, had the operation at the Freeman Hospital, and that was the beginning of the curing of the cancer. They took the prostate away completely. I went for regular blood tests from then till now. The last blood test I had was about 3 months ago, and they said it was still clear and I didn't have to go back for about a year. And that's the situation I'm in now. I have two friends who have advanced prostate cancer, and it was because they didn't go to the doctors early enough. If I hadn't gone to the doctors that day, I probably would not have gone at all. And it could have been sitting there growing and growing and growing and breaking out. I told my doctor early, it saved my life, it could save yours.
I felt there was something peculiar about bowel movements, and I went to and pressure, and I went to see the doctor. And then within a few days, I got a letter from a surgeon saying that he had heard from this gentleman, and that instead of doing any outpatients tests, he would like me to come into hospital right away. And I went in, and it was a great relief to be in and to know something was going to be done. And so I had an operation and ended up with a colostomy. And from then on, I've done nothing but get well. It took me 2 years before I ever met anybody else who had had cancer and a colostomy. And when I did, I was amazed at the lives that they had. You know your own body, and any changes that occur, especially regularly, go and see. I told my doctor early, it saved my life, it could save yours.
It was my mother's partner who said that it appears that I go to the toilet regularly, and he is suffering from an aggravated prostate problem, and he thought that maybe I was suffering from the same type of condition. Went immediately to see the GP, who then thought it was enlarged, and an appointment would be made at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Gateshead to get it checked out. The result of the analysis about a month later was I was suffering from aggressive prostate cancer. In June 2006, I got the call from the hospital to come in immediately a bed was available, the operation will be done within 24 hours. They do keep a watchful eye on me. I have been also checked for other cancers, certainly testicular and bowel cancer. So the NHS have done a great job for me. Men, because it's in the position it is within the body, are frightened. They are worried to go to the doctor. They won't even talk to their partners. You must go to the doctor and get checked out. When the surgeon said to me, if I remove your prostate now, you will be cancer-free. I can't play God, but I can give you 25 years. And I thought, well, you know what? I'll take that. I told my doctor early, it saved my life, it could save yours.
So I decided I wasn't going to go for the mammogram, and I just put the letter on the side, on the bench, and my husband, I'd forgotten about it, to be honest, and then my husband rang me the day he'd seen it, and he rang and said, don't forget you've got this mammogram today. And I said, no chance, I haven't got time, I've got too busy, too much to do, finishing off work, I'm not going. And he said, please, just go. If you're not going for yourself, go for me. And I couldn't believe it when I saw this on the X-ray, and I went straight there with my hand and felt the lump straight away. They said, can we bring Mr. Robinson in? My husband came in and he diagnosed me with breast cancer, and I nearly fell through the floor. And then I had a wide excision lumpectomy, and after that I had to have radiotherapy for 6 weeks. We were driving down the road and my husband was extremely worried and nervous, as was I, to be honest. And we were just driving along, and then on the radio, get a bit thing when I think about it, on the radio, Simon and Garfunkel's song, And Here's to You, Mrs. Robinson, came on. And I just went, can you hear? And he said, yeah. And I just knew then that everything was going to be all right, and it was. And in total now, I've had 9 years clear. So, thank you, God. If they did find a lump, act on it immediately, because the quicker you can get to the doctors, the quicker you can be diagnosed, the quicker you can get it sorted, and the quicker you can come out the other end and live a really normal, happy life. I went for my scan, it saved my life, and it could save yours.
I noticed a mole on just at the bottom of my calf, and it could have been there for a long time. It could have just appeared in the last few weeks or months, but it's obviously not a part of your body that you see very often, the back of your leg. It just looked a little bit strange, and the GP took one look at the mole and said, well, it looks a little bit strange, you know, it's quite dark, it's a little bit raised up. Just to be on the safe side, I'm going to refer you to the dermatology unit at Newcastle RVI. So I went away, got my results. It was only about a week later to say it was a malignant melanoma, and that I would need to come back in, and they decided they'd take some more of the skin from around the mole out, just to see whether it had spread. It was a mixture of relief and sort of trepidation, really, because I was relieved that they'd seen it and they'd taken it out so quickly, and they wanted to do some more. But obviously at that point there was the concern that it might have gone into my bloodstream and spread. The GPs are, you know, they're well briefed. They do this kind of thing all the time. They know where to refer you. They know themselves what looks like a good mole or a bad mole, and so the whole process is very quick, very efficient, very easy, and at the very least it gives you the peace of mind. In my case, it, you know, probably saved my life. And then it was a case of going back to the hospital every 6 months for a checkup, both of that area and elsewhere, just to make sure that, you know, there are no other moles manifesting themselves in the same way.
and I did that every 6 months for 5 years, and earlier this year got the 5-year all clear. I told my doctor early, it saved my life, it could save yours.